10 questions for a biker, take 1. And action.
All right, so same rules as last time. Except
Gotcha.
you can curse if you want to.
I can use my real vocabulary, my bad English.
You're bad English. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. We are back with 10 questions for a biker. A biker chick, a biker girl, a biker female, a biker person. What's the correct vernacular? I don't know.
Biker.
Biker.
There is no gender attached to it. Biker is universal.
10 questions for a biker. So we're here with Charlie on her beautiful, new to her, Victory motorcycle. What is the exact model?
This is a 2016 Victory Cross Country
A cross country.
with a 106.
That's a 106. We'll get into that in a bit. So I want you to do a walk around and show me the bike. So let's get on with 10 questions for a biker. You
All
ready?
right. Sure.
Straight into the questions. All right. So what was your first motorcycle experience? Not the first bike you owned. What was your first motorcycle experience? How old were you? And who first taught you to ride?
So we got to go way back because
Way
I'm
back.
old now.
Okay.
Because, that's what happens when you get to be a biker. You are old. Otherwise, you're not a biker because you're not old.
All right.
Way back when I was probably 3 or 5, my neighbors were into motorcycling. And I remember there was this one night, it was Eli and Sandy, and they were the owners of the house, and they had this biker party. And all of a sudden, these motorcycles kept coming through my neighborhood, and they were parking all over the lawn. And I was like, that's really cool. And I ran down there and I was really excited. It was dark and there were lights everywhere, and they thought I was a lost child and they tried to return me somewhere. Great. My first interaction with motorcycles happened to be with real, genuine bikers who actually care about kids and happen to be really cool people.
Did
Just
you
on
get to
top of
sit on one of them? Do you
that.
remember?
I did not, because they didn't know who I belonged to.
Okay. So that
They were a
was
little
you were
worried.
exposed to probably very big, loud Harleys. If you were
Yep.
3, 4, 5 years old, that would have been, yeah.
Like 1980.
Okay. All right.
Way
So, who first taught you to ride then?
I first learned to ride in the CMSP class. Well,
Really?
sorry, not CMSP. Back then it was a different program. So I think it was still CMSP, but it was different curriculum.
It was MSF back then, wasn't it?
Yeah. But I did learn in a course. I already knew how to drive a stick shift, and I was pretty competent on 2 wheels as a bicycle. I've never fallen down on a bicycle unless I intended to, so I was pretty confident going in. Took the class with a girlfriend of mine. We're now no longer friends, and she no longer rides.
Were you a teenager?
No.
In your 20s?
Yes, we'll say that.
Okay. In your 20s.
We'll say that. Right around the end of my 20s.
But that point from when you were first exposed to motorcycles to the point where you decided you wanted to learn to ride a motorcycle and get a bike, that's a big
It
gap.
is. And previous to getting my own license, I spent 9 years as a passenger. So
On a bike?
On a bike. So
Okay.
different boyfriends or just friends. I really was into the motorcycle culture.
Okay. So,
I got bit by the bug as a child, and
Right.
then I found anybody who would take me out for a ride,
Right.
and I'd go anywhere. And then I decided I was tired of waiting on someone to pick me up and take me
like
out.
guys with motorcycles. So
I
you've
thought
got-
I did.
You thought you did.
I thought I did. I dated this guy. He didn't own a car. I was
Right.
like, this is great. We're going to go out on the motorcycle. Every time we went on a date or anywhere, it was in my car. I said, I don't need a guy who's got a bike. I just need a bike.
There you go.
So I made the decision to get off the back and get on the front.
Awesome. All right. So moving on to question number 2. What was your first motorcycle that you actually owned?
The dead one in my driveway.
Okay.
Purchased.
Still own it? Wow.
I do. I still own it. Purchased used with 4,100 miles on it. A 2001 Suzuki VL800. It has over 60,000 miles on it now. A lot of my first years of riding was as a single parent, so it was an opportunity to ride very much, was an opportunity to go very far. So it took a lot of years to get those miles, but I still own it.
Cool. Question number 3. And I know the answer to this because you're sitting on it, but what is and why did you choose your current motorcycle?
Being a biker, I like to go to motorcycle events, and
Right.
my favorite one is over in Nevada. We like to go to that every year. It's usually around October, and they were doing free test rides on Victories and Indians that year. And I looked at the Indians, and it looked a lot like the Harley I already had in my garage, so I decided to try something that looked different, and I took the Victory out, fell in love with the 2016 Victory Magnum. Not exactly the same bike, pretty much the same model, but it had speakers in the lids and an upgraded sound system. But I finally could reach enough forward to get my feet on the controls. There's a bike that fit me. I'd never seen that before.
Right.
So I've been lusting after it ever since.
And one more time, this is a
2016
Victory
cross country.
Engine size is?
A 106 or 1730 some odd cc's.
A lot of low end torque. Would you describe it as having some grunt?
I will say it has plenty of get up and go. I've recently spent some time on an MT-07.
Yeah.
That is low end torque.
Yeah.
That is pull the front end off the ground with no clutch, easy to wheelie. This is not the same kind of low end torque.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Well, I look forward to doing a walk around on this bike, and you can show me all of the fabulous things it has to offer. Okay, question number 4. How often do you ride?
I am on my motorcycle 4 to 6 days a week. Anytime I'm going anywhere, I'm pretty much on my bike.
Cool.
I'm not even allowed to drive the car anymore.
Which makes this very practical.
It does.
Because you've got panniers to
once
put
I get
your stuff.
my luggage rack, it'll be good for
You'll have a
Costco runs.
There you go. You can put stuff on your bike and carry it.
Right now, grocery store's good. Costco, not so much.
Cool. Question number 5. If you could take a long distance motorcycle trip, where would you go and who would you want to take? This can be anywhere in the world with anybody.
James,
alive or dead.
You
could take Mother Teresa or Gandhi if you wanted to.
No, I have a person. The thing is, I will just ride anything, anywhere, anytime.
I'm gonna have to drag this answer out of you. I can tell. All right, let's figure out who would you want to go with first.
Who would I want to go with? So, previous.
And this is not a passenger; they're on their own bike.
No, 100%.
Okay.
And previous to their probably most famous series, I became a fan of Norman Reedus a long time ago.
Ah, yeah.
Boondock Saints junkie, right here.
Okay.
Groupie, whatever you're gonna call that. And
his motorcycle show is awesome.
His show is amazing. I've seen every episode, and he's ridden some nice places, and he likes to trade bikes with people, and I think that's a great opportunity to just learn more.
I'm going to interview him. 10 questions for a biker.
Excellent. So that would be the who.
Okay,
just
so you'd like to
because
go with Norman Reedus.
Right, because I think he's a general, all-around decent person, a fan of his work, obviously, but I know he can also ride a motorcycle, so I don't have to worry about him anywhere.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not sure Mother Teresa could ride, so that way might make me nervous.
Sidecar.
I can 100% rock a sidecar hack.
So where in the world would you want to do a long-distance bike ride? We're talking long way up, long way down,
right?
Long way left, long way right, that kind of thing.
I think
Australia, Africa, India, North America, South America.
Time being not a factor.
No time constraints.
Expense by not having to be at work, not a factor.
No. This is what part of the world do you want to see on a bike?
I want to see all of the world on a motorcycle, but
limit it to one country.
This is why this is challenging, because I will ride anything I got to pay for. I don't care what it is. I don't care where it is. I'll ride it. I would like to someday ride to Alaska. Okay. Not necessarily tagging him along. I would someday like to go ride in Europe. Not necessarily tagging him along. I would probably say, hey, where do you want to go ride? Let's go there. Because I'm amenable.
Okay.
You know. Eventually, I'd like to go to ride in Australia or New Zealand. I've had a bunch of students from there. They told me to look them up if I ever get there. So, it'd be fun.
New Zealand is absolutely... I've never ridden there, but, if you're a fan of the Lord of the Rings movies, the topography and the scenery and the mountains and the deserts and the oceans and the cliffs and the rocks and there's everything. Everything.
I live in the riding mecca of the world.
This is true.
A half an hour away, I'm at the beach. Another half an hour in the other direction, I'm in the mountains.
Yeah.
I can surf and ski on the same day. And I have amazing roads. So as far as anywhere I want to go, I would probably defer to someone else's desire to go somewhere specific. And just enjoy the ride.
In order to keep this interview around 15 minutes.
Reasonable.
Reasonable length of time. We'll move on to the next question. The answer to the question is where you'd like to go is yes. Anywhere.
Yes, anywhere.
Anyway, okay.
2 or 3 wheels.
Alrighty. Question number 6. If you could only own one motorcycle, the magic motorcycle that never breaks down, there's always parts if it does, what would it be?
I am in love with this motorcycle, but the Swiss Army knife of motorcycles for me would be the Harley Pan America.
Cool.
Because you can take it anywhere. I've already test ridden it.
And it ticked all the right boxes, hit all the right buttons.
It ticks 1 or 2 more boxes than this current bike.
Okay.
And that's because this is not comfortable in the dirt.
Yeah. Fully loaded, Pan America with all the bells and whistles on it.
Yeah, except I don't need the adaptive ride height because I'm tall enough and my husband's not. So if that's on there, he might try to ride it.
Cool. All right. No, they're great bikes. We have a friend who owns one.
Yes, we
Michael.
do. Yes,
Right.
we do, and he likes to flaunt it at
He
me.
does. He flaunts it. I'm going to interview Michael and we'll check out his Pan America.
Yes.
All right. Okay, question number 7. Do you have a favorite motorcycle YouTuber or channel that you follow?
So obviously, I follow the Brit on a bike.
Hey, there you
Obviously,
go. Okay.
one of my favorite people, just in general, because I know you as a human outside of YouTube. There's a couple other channels that I observe and check in on frequently, but one that I'm really interested in is MotoControl.
MotoControl.
MotoControl. He's, I believe he's originally from Russia, and he has since moved out of country, but his videos can be entertaining while also being very technical. My favorite part is his Russian accent saying "Hola amigos" at the beginning of every video.
Hola amigos. There you go.
With a Russian accent,
With
it
a
sounds
Russian
amazing.
accent. All right. I will put a link to his channel for my viewers so they can check him out. Question number 8. What's the scariest thing that's ever happened to you while riding a motorcycle?
Well, a couple months back, it should be sometime last year, I was riding my sturdy, reliable bike down the road, and it just shut off at 65 plus miles an
You're
hour.
talking about your old Suzuki?
My old Suzuki just shut off for no apparent reason.
Just shut down. The engine
Shut down as I'm going 65 plus down the freeway in decent traffic. Took it to the mechanic.
Momentum kept going. The
Barely.
engine didn't seize.
No, the engine didn't seize. It just shut off.
It was just-
And it wouldn't restart in motion unless I put it in neutral. So had a technician check it out. Turns out my kickstand sensor was being affected by my demonstrations where I
Oh,
dragged the kickstand.
interesting.
It was affecting that
All right,
contact
so,
point.
but why did that make? Why was it scary?
Because losing speed and power and having no idea why. It's not like I hit the engine cutoff switch. That would
Right.
make sense. It just stopped for no reason.
And you were at speed
I was at speed in the fast lane in a merging area.
in
Very-
traffic.
In traffic. It was not a fun time. And the only place I could pull over,
Was
you
the hard
could.
shoulder, or did you get across all the lanes?
Oh,
to
it was in the center divider, but you couldn't fit a tow truck there. I barely fit there on the bike.
Wow,
It was, yeah, that was pretty intimidating.
that was a pucker moment.
Yes,
Yeah,
for sure.
There you go.
For sure.
Goodness me, that's never happened to me.
It
I've had
happened
some-
to me
I've
twice.
Had, okay, yeah, that's an interesting thing.
It's not even as scary as blowing the rear tire at speed. I've done that twice too.
Okay. Moving on. Question number 9. What's your most favorite thing about motorcycle riding?
I would have to say it's kind of cliche, but riding a motorcycle for me is 100% about freedom. It's not necessarily I'm free from the government, because that's obviously not true. But when I get on my motorcycle, I'm required to focus on the riding and the scenario, the atmosphere, the vehicles around. I can't think about my bad day at work, how sick I feel, that my kid's being a jerk, or any of these. My guy didn't win the election, for example. I can't think about any of that when I'm on a motorcycle. All of that has to go away, and my focus is 110% on the visceralness of riding a motorcycle.
It's all on you.
100%. And that's freedom to me. It's just
Right.
everything else is gone. No more worries. Just ride the bike.
Cool. It's a great answer.
Thank you.
Final question. What's the best piece of advice you can give new riders? I know.
No, I I love the question.
As motorcycle instructors, we could spend hours, and we
Right,
do, training
right.
and teaching and giving advice to how to ride safely.
Yeah.
But
As an instructor,
someone comes to you who's brand new, and they're like, "I want to learn to ride a motorcycle."
right. As an instructor, my answer would be go take a class.
Go take.
But as a biker, which is this interview, my answer would be do research. First and foremost, not just about where you should go take a class, because there are good and bad places, good and bad classes. Some are certifying and some are not. That doesn't mean that because they're not certifying doesn't mean it's a good place. But learning from someone on YouTube is not necessarily the right way to do it. Do your research. What bike should you get? Do your research. What do you think you need the bike to do? Do your research. Don't just take someone's word that that's the best bike for you, or that this is the best place to go, or that's the perfect instructor for you. As a biker, it's on you at the end of the day. So 110%, do your research. Doesn't matter what gear, helmet, jacket, bike, class, all of it. Do your research.
And we have this wonderful thing now called the internet.
Yes.
Pretty much the sum of all human knowledge is
Yes.
available to anybody with an internet connection.
Yes.
And you can do your research.
Yes.
You really, really can.
And I 100% pay attention to negative Yelp reviews as much as I do positive, because I've received a few negative Yelp reviews myself, and I find them highly entertaining. Once you've met me, there's a different opinion, but when you're looking at something new to you, that perspective of good and bad is a great way to figure out where you should go, what you should do, what you should buy.
Do your research.
100%.
Cool. Fantastic. Now, I'm throw a bonus question in.
Uh-oh.
Bonus question. Bonus round. Is there a motorcycle you would just like to swing your leg over and try? Not own. Do you fancy getting on a MotoGP 200 horsepower track bike and just feeling what that's like to have that underneath you?
So,
or would you want to be on a dirt bike and do...
I don't know. I've already crashed on a dirt bike.
Okay.
Because I have this amazing opportunity to do this job in more than one curriculum, there are opportunities that students bring their own bikes.
Right.
And I encourage them 100% of the time, if they can't make an exercise happen, if they're uncomfortable making it happen, ask me to show them how on their own bike. So I've ridden a couple of R1s. I haven't ridden a Hayabusa yet because nobody's brought one to class. Ridden a Honda Fury. Recently, I've also ridden a Himalayan.
Yeah. Royal Enfield.
Royal Enfield. I've ridden. So if a person brings a bike to class, even if they're not struggling, if they offer to let me ride it, I'm going to borrow it. I'm going to ride it around the parking lot. Got a couple instructors tried to get me to buy a Yamaha Tracer. And I got on the bike and I'm like, no. As I'm riding around, no, because I really liked it.
Right.
But it's not what I wanted right now. This is what I wanted right now. So, yeah, anything that anyone will let me ride, I'll ride.
But as far as...
Anything.
Anything. Okay, you're right. There isn't one particular bike that you just would love to try.
I've ridden the Pan America. That's what I really want is my bucket list kind of bike. I own a big sweet bagger. I had a Japanese cruiser. I get to borrow sport bikes all the time. Supermoto bikes.
All sorts of training bikes.
All sorts of training bikes. Anything from 125 to 500 cc's qualifies in the training bike realm. So I've ridden all kinds of different variety there. I live a blessed life when it comes to motorcycling. I really do.
All right, Charlie. Thank you so much for being on camera. Continued safe riding.
Maybe next time you should offer another beer before you do these questions.
Ride safely, come home alive.
You as well.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.